Welcome to the ESG Room, brought to you by CSR-in-Action, where we host real conversations, bold ideas, and sustainable impact. I am Ogunyemi Oluyemi, and today I am joined by Ms. Ijeoma Ohiaeri, Corporate Affairs Manager at Segilola Resources Operating Limited. Today, we'll be exploring Segilola's sustainability journey, progress, impact, and future commitments, unpacking their milestones, challenges, and aspiration as a key player in Nigeria's extractive industry. Let's get into it. Thank you for tuning in and welcome once again to the ESG Room. To start with, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your role at Segilola, and your journey in the industry?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. So my name is Ijeoma Ohiaeri, and I'm the Corporate Affairs Manager for Segilola Resources Operating Limited, a Nigerian exploration and gold mining company. Our flagship project is the Segilola Gold Mine, Nigeria's first large-scale commercial gold mine. And so, as I mentioned previously, I head the corporate affairs team, and we manage the internal and external communications for the organization, PR, and then sustainability also falls within our remit. But as we all know, sustainability extends far beyond just the corporate affairs team to almost all the departments within the organization. My journey in mining, I didn't start out in mining actually. I started out in the oil and gas field, oil and gas sector. I was working for an oil and gas servicing firm on a multi-billion-dollar project that was winding down. And I started feeling a bit restless. But coincidentally, the Segilola team reached out to me within that same period. And at that time, there wasn't that much on ground, to be honest. And I always joke that if I had visited the first Segilola office, I wouldn't have accepted the offer. But what really sold me was hearing the Thor team and the Segilola country manager talk about the vision for the company and how transformative it would be for the Nigerian, solid minerals industry. And, I'm very grateful that I took that risk because in 8 years, the company has been able to achieve so much and drive the industry forward. And I just want to state that our offices now are very nice.
Okay, that's really interesting, and that's a key part about sustainability because it's not just about what you can see now. It goes beyond that to what happens 5 years for now, and that really speaks a lot about your person. You go beyond just seeing the present benefits, but what it could be in the future. So that brings me to my next question because it seems like there's a story behind your wealth of experience. So can you share with us what inspires your work in sustainability?
So my first degree is in environmental science, but I think I would trace my inspiration, and my love for sustainability, far earlier than that to my dad. So my dad is a medical doctor, but he's always had this interest and passion for ESG. He founded a company that takes food waste and turns it into compost. So growing up, it was really normal to have conversations about sustainability, waste, circularity. And something that always stuck out to me was that it just took a mindset shift, for you to look at waste, not just, from looking at it as something useless, and then take from looking at it as something useless to something that is not useless, but not just not useless, but something that could be potentially valuable. And a lot of people miss that. They will just look at it and just see waste, but it takes, a different mindset to look at it and see something that's potentially valuable. And I think that that's something that has, shaped the way I, do my work and the way I see life is looking, for opportunities where others see limitations. And then, and I'm a mom. And so that inspires my work in sustainability because that issue or that concept of legacy and the kind of world environmentally, economically, socially that we leave behind for our children, for the future generations is something that has become more important to me, after becoming a mother.
Oh, wow. A legacy to leave behind for the future and inspired by your dad to see value where most people see waste. So, Segilola recently installed 150 solar powered street lights across different communities, which in itself is such an impressive feat. What other clean energy projects does Segilola have lined up?
So another clean energy project that we're really proud of is the inclusion of compressed natural gas into the power generation for the Segilola gold mine. So previously it had been just diesel. And so with the inclusion of this compressed natural gas, one, because compressed natural gas is a cleaner form of energy, it reduces our emissions. And two, it's more cost effective. So literally it's a win-win all around. It's something that we're really proud of.
Building strong relationships with host communities is key to sustainable business. How does Segilola ensure open and honest communication with them?
Okay. Firstly, we ensure that broad spectrum of interest within the host communities were represented or are represented in decision making. And so we did this in the beginning when we were setting up the community development agreements, CDAs. They are agreements that set out benefits that go to the host communities from the mining company. And so when we were setting up the committees within the host communities, we ensured that it wasn't just, the typical people that are represented there, but we ensured that we had marginalized groups represented there as well, like women and youth who are typically left out from these sorts of decision making. And it was really, really beneficial because then the outcomes, the initiatives were representative of different groups. And so we had larger buy-in to the CDA process and then its outcomes. Secondly, to build trust, you must be trustworthy. And so we ensured that whatever commitments we made, we actually did them. And so we don't make commitments flippantly because we know that we will be held to them. And this has been really good and has built us a good reputation. In fact, when we go to some exploration communities, our reputation precedes us. And, they're a bit warmer to us because they have heard of, our track record of keeping our word and of treating our host communities, well and with dignity. Thirdly, something that is a key thing in our community relations approach is cultural governance. And so cultural governance is the deliberate inclusion of traditional leaders, chiefs, elders, respected people in the communities, including them in decision making. And this has been really, really helpful for us because, again, we live in Nigeria and the traditional form of rulership and then elders is a really big part of the communities. And so including that in our decision making has given us more credibility. So an example of that would be in employment and recruitment committees. We included some of the cultural governance leaders, and we found that one, it helped us with improved candidate selection because those people, the traditional rulers, were able to nominate candidates that were competent and that were also people of good repute, of good character. Secondly, it improved accountability because the candidates were aware of the fact that they were not just representing themselves or their families, but they were also representing their host communities. So I think those are three of the key things in our community relations approach that has worked.
A very well-rounded approach to stakeholder engagement. I got three main things from what she said. The first one being inclusion of the marginalized groups, women and youth, and also, like you said, to build trust, you must be trustworthy, and cultural governance. So CSR efforts are great for communities, but how have they impacted Segilola as a company?
So CSR initiatives and our approach have strengthened our social license to operate. So our activities are supported and are approved by our stakeholders, especially our host communities. And so by investing in, engagement in CSR, CDA initiatives, and in, responsible operations, we found that this has built trust, goodwill, and a long-term partnership with the host communities. So this trust translates into increased reputation, investor confidence, operational efficiency because we have reduced community disruptions, and then three, employee morale, improved employee morale because employees are happy to work in a place that they know we value the host communities, And so, yeah, it's a win-win all around. It's a strategic advantage, honestly, for us.
I absolutely agree with you. It's a win-win situation. So, moving on, stakeholders are paying more attention to transparency in ESG, environmental, social, and governance practices. How is Segilola approaching sustainability reporting?
Okay, so transparency is a core value for us at Segilola, and we are continuously enhancing our sustainability reporting. So we first started our ESG reporting in 2021, and by 2022, we had aligned our ESG disclosures to the GRI standards. So interestingly, we did our GRI training with CSR-in-Action. Anyways, back to the sustainability report. We identified 6 topics that are material to the business, which are our people, health and safety, environment, social and community, corporate governance, and cultural governance. In 2024, our parent company, Thor Explorations Limited, published its first sustainability report with reference to the GRI standards and aligned to the UN SDGs.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ijeoma, for your answer. So, looking ahead now, what would you say are Segilola's top sustainability goals for the next 5 years? And should we expect any other major initiatives?
So I'll discuss the sustainability goals according to material topics. So the first is our people. So we want to expand capacity development and trainings. We also want to increase female representation in the workforce. At Segilola, we have a program, an upskilling program, where we upskill women into roles that are traditionally male-dominated. An example of that is taking people from the kitchen and training them to become pit controllers, training them to become dump truck drivers. And it's an initiative that's worked out very, very well. And it's something that we hope to continue in the next 5 years. Health and safety, we would like to achieve 0 incident operations. So reduce our lost time injury frequency rate and our total recordable incident frequency rate. For the environment, we want to sustain the emissions reductions that we've gotten so far and enhance biodiversity for mine closure. For social and community, we want to deepen our community engagements and ensure that the livelihood restoration programs become self-sustaining in 2 years. The livelihood restoration programs are programs that we've done for our project-affected persons. So this is done in addition to paid compensation. We provide equipment, infrastructure in vegetable farming and fish farming to ensure that they have a sustained means of livelihood. For corporate governance, we want to broaden our ESG disclosures across additional standards, not just the GRI and the UN SDGs. For cultural governance, we want to enforce CDAs and all the initiatives and commitments that we have there. So for this, this is just some pictures from the livelihood restoration programs. You can see one of the project affected persons in the vegetable farm cooperative with the tomatoes that she has harvested. And in the next picture, you can see somebody feeding fish in the cooperative that does fish farming, one of the project affected persons. So again, the company has a lot of community initiatives. We are not just, as I've said before, we're not just talking the talk, we are walking the walk. So we have our annual medical outreach. We provide free diagnosis, treatments, drugs, free surgeries, glasses. And these surgeries, they range from, minor to major surgeries. So this is an initiative that we're really very proud of. And has gone down well with the host communities. I think, in the past 2 years, we've had probably more than 3,000 people, being treated as part of this medical outreach program. For under education, we have annual scholarships to secondary and tertiary institutions. And that's, one that really goes down well in the host communities as well. We donated a lab to one of the schools in the host communities. We've renovated the schools in the host communities. Under infrastructure, we have road repairs. We've drilled boreholes to ensure they have access to water. And then, as you mentioned previously, the solar street lights and other, such initiatives. And then we also have the annual Segilola football tournament, which goes down very, very well. It has participants from the company and from the host communities. You know that football is a unifier. So this goes down really, really well. And it's an initiative that, everybody looks forward to. Segilola side, the host communities, and we actually get really, really competitive. And one thing I like about it is it just does not have a male division. We also have a women's division of this as well. Agriculture, so as I mentioned, the LRPs, and then economic empowerment. Wow, Segilola does a lot on this. So we have a Segilola Women's Initiative Program, and annually we pick women from the host communities, entrepreneurs, and we give them equipment for their business. We also do trainings for them. This year we did a business training and social media branding training that went out really, really well. And then we also have youth empowerment programs. So we've done things from skill acquisition to this year we're doing a transport scheme. Basically, we are providing buses to what we call kurukways to the host communities for them to do, this transport business. And so, we're encouraging the youth. And so Segilola has a lot of initiatives, and these are just a few.
Okay. Those are really, really bold and inspiring goals, and your portfolio of community initiatives are truly, really impressive. And what strikes me the most is the balance between the environmental innovation and also the social responsibility. It's a great example when businesses integrate sustainability the right way into their business. Thank you very much for your answer. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Ijeoma, for sharing Segilola's inspiring sustainability journey with us. Your insights into responsible mining, stakeholder engagement, and long-term commitment to ESG principles are truly impressive, and they reflect the kind of leadership we need in today's extractive industry. And at CSR-in-Action, we believe that transparent conversations like this are essential in driving meaningful progress. And as champions of sustainable development across Africa, we are proud to provide platforms like the ESG rooms where industry leaders can connect, reflect, and inspire actions. To our listeners, thank you for joining us. If you found today's discussions insightful, please do share, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more bold conversations that challenge the status quo and spark sustainable impact. Until next time, keep asking the right questions and keep building the future we all want to see. See you on the next one. Bye.